The proving ground fell silent as the gates groaned open. Through the gap emerged a creature that had ended civilizations. A Kralthar warbeast, 12 feet of corded muscle, chitinous armor, and predatory intelligence. Its 6 eyes swept across the assembled cadets of the Galactic Defense Academy, and several species instinctively stepped back. Instructor Vexnar, a towering Thraxian with scales that shimmered like oil, raised one clawed hand. "This is your final trial." The Kralthar was bred for one purpose: to identify warriors worthy of commanding the fleet's most dangerous missions. It will test each of you. Most of you will fail. Cadet First Class Ziraeth, a Valorian whose crystalline form refracted the harsh overhead lights, stood at attention. Behind her, the ranked formations represented 43 species, each the finest their worlds could offer. At the back, almost hidden by the larger aliens, stood Marcus Chen, the only human in the class. The war beast began its assessment. It approached Ziraeth first, circling her with movements that seemed impossible for something so massive. The creature's mandibles clicked rapidly, processing pheromones, bioelectric signatures, and something deeper, something the Academy scientists called combat essence. Ziraeth held her ground admirably, her crystalline structure pulsing with controlled fear. After 30 seconds, the Kralthar huffed and moved on. She had passed, but barely. One by one, the beast evaluated them. Some it dismissed with contempt, their warrior spirit found lacking. A Gromath cadet, all tusks and bravado, lasted 5 seconds before the creature's psychic pressure sent him whimpering to his knees. A Sethian, bred for assassination, managed to meet the beast's gaze for nearly a minute before stepping aside, sweat glistening on her scales. The casualties mounted, not physical but spiritual. Warriors who had conquered their homeworld's most brutal training regimens found themselves wanting before the Kralthar's ancient judgment. The beast had fought in wars that predated most species' written histories. It knew killers from pretenders. Then it reached Marcus Chen. The human stood 5'10", unremarkable by most species' standards. No natural armor, no enhanced senses, no crystalline defense matrix, just flesh, bone, and the standard-issue cadet uniform that hung loose on his frame. Several aliens had openly questioned his presence here. Humans were newcomers to the galactic stage, their military untested in the broader cosmos. The Kralthar's 6 eyes fixed on the human, its massive head lowered, bringing those ancient, intelligent eyes level with Marcus's face. The creature's breath washed over him, hot and reeking of meat. Marcus didn't move. The beast's psychic pressure intensified. Cadets 30 feet away felt their knees weaken. Instructor Vexnar's own combat implants triggered defensive protocols against the overwhelming force of predatory will emanating from the creature. Marcus Chen stood absolutely still, his brown eyes locked with the war beast's primary optical cluster. Something changed in the Kralthar's posture. Its mandibles stopped clicking. The psychic pressure didn't lessen but shifted from assault to assessment. The creature tilted its massive head, studying the human with an intensity it had shown no other cadet. Then impossibly, the war beast lowered itself. Not the slight dip it gave to worthy warriors. The Kralthar sank until its heavily armored chest touched the ground, its 6 eyes never leaving Marcus's face. The position was unmistakable. It was a bow, a gesture of profound respect that hadn't been witnessed in living memory. The proving ground erupted in confusion. Cadets broke formation. Instructors frantically checked their data pads, searching for precedent. Vexnar himself stood frozen, his 3 hearts hammering in disbelief. Marcus, for his part, simply nodded to the creature. "I see you too," he said quietly. The Kralthar rose and moved to stand beside the human, not as judge, but as guardian. It turned to face the other cadets, and the message was clear. "This one is mine." Later, in the Academy's restricted archives, Vexnar would discover the truth that human military historians had known but never advertised. Humanity's evolution was unique. They were persistence hunters from a death world, pack predators who conquered their planet not through strength or speed, but through sheer, terrifying endurance. They hunted megafauna by following it for days until it collapsed from exhaustion. They survived wounds that would kill most species. They looked at the impossible and kept walking forward. But more than that, humans understood something fundamental that most species had bred out of themselves during their civilized ascent. They recognized fellow predators not as enemies, but as kindred spirits. The Krauthar, in its ancient wisdom, had seen this. It had looked into Marcus Chen and recognized a creature that, stripped of technology and civilization, would have hunted alongside it through the old wars. It had seen a species that, given enough time and pressure, would never stop coming. It had seen a pack member. Marcus Chen graduated top of his class that cycle. The Krauthar never left his side during his service with the Galactic Defense Fleet. Together, they became a legend, the human who spoke to war beasts, and the ancient predator who had finally found his match. On colony worlds and fleet ships, aliens would whisper the story in the dark watches between shifts. They would tell their younglings about the species that had walked out of a death world and taught the galaxy's most feared weapons what it meant to be human. And on distant battlefields, when situations became truly desperate, officers would pray for the arrival of Marcus Chen and his war beast, the human who bowed to no one, and the creature that bowed to him alone.